Hi, I'm Josh Sanders. I'm the owner of Sanders Street Rods in Enumclaw, Washington. I've been in the industry now for about 10, 11 years. I started working for Denny Olson when the business was Street Rods by Denny. One of the originals that kind of grew into a very serious business and presence in the Northwest. I worked for him for about 7 years. 4 years ago, he retired and I took the business over and changed it to Sanders Street Rods. And that's where I carried the Street Rods name over from with my last name. I really got interested in cars because of my dad. He built a 55 Willys truck in high school. And we always had the truck in the barn, basically gathering dust until we got to working on it. And eventually him and my brother Nathan and I put a new 383 stroker engine in it and a turbo 400 tranny, and that was really exciting. We all had our coveralls on, and it was a whole experience, very memorable for me to hear that thing run and slide the pistons in the engine. It was a lot of fun. My Uncle Mark had a Nitro funny car, so I was kind of around that with my cousin Jake and really started to get interested in it. Actually, a kid I went to school with bought me a model Chevelle for my birthday, and I stuck it up on my desk in my room. It was a red Chevelle. And I would just look at that car and for whatever reason, just developed a liking for Chevelles. And eventually when I was about 14, I found an old rusty 68 Chevelle. You could see through the floor pans. I had milky oil, power glide, mismatched panels, no interior. It was just a total mess, but it was what I could afford after my dad loaned me like $1,000 or whatever it was. And over the next 3 years, I learned how to weld, converted a barn storage area behind my parents' house into a paint booth with lights that we took out of another building from something my dad was doing, and put a fan on the wall and set this whole shop up and started to learn. I met Denny, I met another guy, Mike Wilcox. I talked to a neighbor that did body work and just kind of jumped into it. I was welding up these bins for a neighbor and got a crash course from my uncle, and all these little memories of mine that kind of just kept me going. And it took me about 3 years. I did most all of it myself with a little bit of help, but I learned how to do all this stuff on this car, and I knew that I wanted it to be really nice, and I was blessed and cursed with the ability to see what was nice. Primarily the bodywork on that car is really what I got into. That just kind of piqued my interest at that time. So I focused on that a lot. I remember sanding on the car in the garage, and my parents would come in and be like, "Are you sanding? I thought you were done with that area." And then towards the end of the project, I started to work for Denny. I was doing running start. I would go to school in the morning and then work 20 hours after school throughout the week for Denny. I started working here, and that pretty much completely ruined me. I went back through and redid all the bodywork on the car and brought it all the way to the finish line that way. And Doug, actually, who I've worked with, he just retired last week. I worked with him from the beginning. Went to my house on the weekend and helped me lay out my stripes, and it's just all these really great memories that continue to get my interest. And that 68 Chevelle, I finished when I was 18, and I brought it to Good Guys and got a Young Builders Award. And I was there in the winner's circle with Denny's Dodge truck, which is just immaculate, next to my car, and I got to meet Gary Menners before he unfortunately passed. This whole thing, I was lined up to go to UW for construction management, and those few things kind of made me want to commit to building cars and sticking with it. I felt like with where I was at and where I was going with Denny and some of the feedback and success in my mind early on that I was getting and seeing, it was worth my efforts. And within a couple of years after making that decision, Denny approached me and said, "Hey, I want you to take over this business." We kind of laid out a timeline of what that would look like and where my responsibilities would start to pick up in the shop. That was definitely what hit it home for me. It's like, okay, I'm headed in a direction that I'm really excited about. I have opportunity right in front of me. I just hit it hard and fully committed. I went travel around the country taking metal shaping classes. I would go and take paint classes whenever I could to learn more about paint and the technicalities of it, to go to shows and meet people and network. And within the last 2 years that I worked for Denny, I was dealing with customers often and had my notes and all my questions, and they would come in, and it was just a really great transition. And I had a lot of people supporting me all along the way. I definitely would lean into all the people that had my back and would help me through all this stuff. That was incredibly important because it's not necessarily always easy. I definitely had some people that were like disappointed, I guess, that I was going and pursuing cars. Like they they felt like I needed to go to college, but it just wasn't the right thing for me. So I hope I'm making the best of it and proving them a little bit wrong, just a little bit. But I had great coworkers and customers. That was the biggest thing that I felt as I grew into this, just had more experience and stuff, a huge thing that helped me show my talents that I was just given, that had to turn into skills, of course, and through efforts and learning from all these other people, was just a customer that would, for some reason, when I was 20 years old, they would just let me go and turn me loose on a project. I would have an idea and they would say, go for it. You know, and here I have incredible vehicles and people, and Denny would support me. It's just, all these things came together that really helped me to grow, continue to grow with great support from customers and coworkers giving me more knowledge. And it was a perfect recipe that came together to bring this whole thing to life. So we just finished our 4th year. We've added more employees. We're looking to grow, and more products, an online store. I mean, all these different elements that are exciting and feed into my ADD a little bit, which is good. We're really excited to start bringing products to the market. We kind of look at it like we're car builders. So we're in it every day, and we have all these ideas that we think would make the builds better. They would solve problems that we see, shortfalls in the industry, and coupling that with an in-house CNC and Derek doing all the CAD and machining and stuff like that, we can actually bring these things to life. So we've invested in building a website to be able to display all these products and bring them to you. So they're professionally designed. They're stuff that functions and works that we use every day, and we're continuously adding to it. We've got a really cool product on the works right now that I get excited about just about everything, but this is one to get excited about. So we really appreciate it if you checked out our website. You can subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Instagram. We're going to be posting a lot more build updates, shop tours, product highlights, showing off some of our products and how we use them, some how-to stuff. Lots of just different coverage around the shop to help get you guys engaged and get you to know us a little better. Dang it, this part sucks. I hate doing that.
So,
Jeez, it is a black hole. Why does that one look so much crazier?
You can look at me and then.
No, it's fine. It's just crazy looking. I don't know why. But